What's the secret magic of the Sabbath day? There are a lot of people today, both in the Jewish world and outside of the Jewish world, that are very intrigued by the concept of the Sabbath, of taking a day of rest and reconnection with that which is important in life. Take a look at this clip over here with Bibi Netanyahu talking on a podcast about his reflections about Sabbath observance, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. So let's watch this clip and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
She said, Friday night, Shabbat dinner, and lunch, nothing. No phones, no cell phones, get rid of them, okay? Can you imagine sitting around the table, not having cell phones? Yeah, it's a good idea. Try it sometime, okay?
It's refreshing, right?
Yeah, and we actually have family time for a limited time. My younger boy, who's is an Oxford graduate, but he was he was a great student of the Bible at a very early age. So we'd read a portion of the Bible, which is always relevant. It's a very good book, by the way. I strongly recommend it. I don't know if people still read it, but it's a great book. So up to the age of 12, I was teaching him. Okay, from the age of 12, he was teaching me. And this was family time, and it's because my wife had just the wisdom to give us those years that otherwise would go forever.
So the observance of the Sabbath is something commanded to the Jewish people at Sinai. It's in the Ten Commandments. But many people outside of the Jewish world as well are also taking days for themselves in order to reconvene with their family, shut off all the electronics, and zone back into what's really important in life. So in the Jewish world, the Sabbath is really done for two main reasons. Number one, because it says in the book of Genesis that God creates the world in 6 days and rested on the seventh, right? It creates the concept of rest. So it's something has a universal aspect to it. But there's also a specific reason that's given as well, that you work for 6 days and rest on the seventh, Zecher L'Yetzias Mitzrayim, as a reminder of what took place of God freeing us from Egypt. And since a slave is someone that has to work all 7 days in a week, and that doesn't have the autonomy to do that, the fact that you have the autonomy to take a full day and disconnect yourself from work and from things of the world shows that you have this autonomy, shows that you've been free, and commemorates on a weekly basis the exodus from Egypt. And so this element of the covenant of the Sabbath is something between God and the Jewish people. But like I said, many people, even outside of the Jewish world, are figuring out the secret that the Sabbath, or not Sabbath in the religious or theological sense, but in the recharge sense, that we are so caught up in the hustle of this world, between work, between our families and the chaos of the week, between smartphones and all the technology that's out there. We're so caught up in these sorts of things that it behooves us to have a day that is designated to family, friends, and our own relationship with ourselves and God. Even a person who is not a card-carrying believer, behooves them to take a day and reconnect with the things that are really important in this world, meaning completely shut off your phone, shut off your TV, shut off your internet, just shut it off, tune it out. It consumes us in ways that are so toxic to ourselves as individuals and ourselves as a society. Now, Bibi Netanyahu, who's featured here, I don't know that he is a regular Sabbath observer, right? He is of the Jewish faith and should be keeping the Sabbath, but I'm not sure what his personal observance of that is like. Yet everyone can agree that taking time, taking a day, taking a piece out of your week to reconvene, reconnect with your family, with your God, with your beliefs, with yourself, is something that is very, very refreshing and very healing. Your heart and your soul will feel very full if given the opportunity to take a breather from the craziness that is the rest of the world. In the Jewish community, those of you that are regular watchers, that if you're in the Jewish community, I'd certainly encourage you to get more involved in what it means to keep the Sabbath as a Jewish person, in the specific ways that are delineated in our tradition. If you're not of the Jewish faith, to consider having a time during your week where you, again, reconvene with your family, shut off all those electronics, be in the present moment, which unfortunately these days is something that is so hard to come by. It's so hard to come by. There was a book that was written, I think, about 15 or 20 years ago at this point, by Joe Lieberman. Joe Lieberman, the former senator, he wrote a book about the Sabbath and the Sabbath observance in America. And he wasn't writing from a theological or religious perspective. He was just writing that it's important for the sake of faith, family, friendship, freedom, to have a time where you convene with your families, where you are disconnecting yourself from the craziness of the world and reaffirming that which is really important in your life. And so how much more so, even if that's something that was talked about 20 years ago, how much more so with all of the new technology and just the way that the world functions now, that it's so important for us to be able to, okay, let's detox from the toxic nature that many aspects of our society have integrated into themselves, and connect with something that is much more real. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.